Guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're not already a subscriber, make sure to subscribe because I want to hear from you. I want you to tune into the videos as soon as they come out, and it helps me get more subscribers and get my message out there. So if you have struggled with trying to find that perfect diet and you're looking for something like looking towards other people, you feel like you're constantly looking on the outside to figure out how many meals you should be having, how often you should be eating, what type of foods you should be eating, the best diet for X, Y, and Z, getting this certain physique or whatever that is, this video is going to be for you because you should be focusing more on internal rather than the external piece of it. You shouldn't be looking towards anyone else. You shouldn't be asking anybody else what the best meal frequency, the best diet, any of this stuff. It's not worth it. First of all, it's not going to fit your lifestyle and it's not going to work for you. The end goal is always balance and consistency. And this is what I struggled for years. I was constantly trying to hit like 1,000 calories, cut down on like 10, always lose that last 10 pounds. Then I would yo-yo diet. I would try all the things. I would follow people's What I Ate Wednesdays, hoping that I would find like their perfect diet and try to copy it mine because maybe I would get their body. And this is just not the case because it's really creating your own diet, creating your own lifestyle that's gonna work for you. It's not trying to take someone else's and mold yourself into it. It's like trying to put, the round peg in the square hole or whatever that saying is. So the most important piece is to recognize that there isn't like some cookie cutter meal plan that you should be following. There is no meal frequency that is gonna work for everyone. The first thing is to figure out what works for you. And if you haven't been listening to your body for a really long time, I have a video on mindfulness and mindful eating. That is gonna be the utmost priority in your journey. So figuring out your hunger cues. A lot of times people do not recognize when they're hungry. They have been either eating on a schedule or they have been eating foods based on a diet or a list of foods that they are allowing themselves. So first, tuning into your hunger cues, being very mindful when you're eating, not looking at your computer or looking at your phone when you're trying to eat is going to be helpful. If you don't know where to start, if you don't know if you should be like intermittent fasting or you should be having 6 meals a day or 4 meals a day or 2 meals a day, I always recommend starting with 3 solid meals per day because this is typical in most American diets, and then having 2 snacks. And you can start with this, but you're gonna figure out whether or not this works for you. You're gonna figure out if you're someone that actually prefers like 3 solid meals and no snacks at all. And depending on what season of life you're in, you might have this change all the time. So if you're like a new mom or you're someone who's working a 12-hour shift and you're a nurse, you're gonna have it to adjust you accordingly. You know what I mean? And you might have weekends where you're eating differently than you are during the week, and you just need to figure out something that's going to keep you consistent. So starting with 3 meals per day and 2 snacks is helpful. This also helps if you come from a background where you're feeling like you're binging a lot, where you're under eating and then like overeating on the weekends or having cheat meals, because this is going to allow your body to get a constant amount of food into it. You're going to tell your body that yes, you're going to continue to get food. You're not going to run into the situation where you're halfway through your day, you haven't eaten anything, and all of a sudden like the quickest thing there is like because you've been restricting yourself, and then the quickest thing there is like a piece of cake, so you end up eating that. That's not going to leave you feeling great. Your energy is going to be depleted and it's just not going to work for you. So starting with the 3 meals per day is going to be helpful, and then 2 snacks, and then figure out what works. Maybe you're like, I only need 1 snack and I want that at night. So for me, right now personally, I'm only doing 3 meals per day, and then sometimes on the weekends I'll have like an afternoon snack. Sometimes I always have a nighttime snack because that works for me. It's something I enjoy. But creating that diet, and when I mean diet, I'm talking about the foods that you eat, not a specific keto, Whole30, any of those. Finding a consistent diet for you that's going to work for your lifestyle, and being flexible, because I know there was times that I would just get super hangry because I was so focused on eating at separate times, certain times, and I wasn't fueling my body properly. So you'll notice that when you're not eating enough, that you can't really you're not good at getting hungry. You start to kind of freak out. You start to think about like all the times that if you're going out somewhere and you know there's not gonna be food around, like it kind of scares you. So teaching your body that you're gonna constantly get in calories, you're gonna constantly get in energy, you're gonna constantly get in the carbs, and I can create another video on balanced eating and focusing on macro breakdown and things like that, but really tuning into your body and figuring out long term what's going to work for you. And like I said, we have seasons, things change. There are times when you may want 2 meals a day because that works for you. Morning, you're not hungry. Just figuring out what works for you. So there's no specific meal timing. There's no meal frequency. There's no meal and diets in general that is going to work for one person. So these are my tips for you. Let me know if this is helpful. If you have any questions, leave something in the comments.